Programme. I'm Natalie Graham. First tonight, 4 years after the first COVID lockdown, people across the southeast say they're still living with the effects of the virus. One woman from Burgess Hill has told us how she's still shielding after a kidney transplant left her vulnerable to infection. Others who lost loved ones during lockdown say they're still dealing with the trauma of those events. Jadzia Samuel has our report.
This was the southeast in March 2020.
I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
Only 4 years later, most of us are back to our normal lives. But for many, the pandemic has changed life forever. Yvonne lost her husband to COVID-19 during the first lockdown, mere weeks after celebrating 23 years of marriage. She last saw him entering an ambulance. A week later, he passed away, aged 58.
The trauma that we went through, I don't think can be underestimated. And it's not just me, my family. There were thousands of us going through similar experiences. We cannot forget that. We have to keep remembering that COVID caused misery to thousands of us. It wasn't just cooking banana bread and watching exercise videos. People died.
For millions of people, this period of lockdown has remained a reality even until today. Gayle is one of an estimated 1.2 million people across the country with a compromised immune system. She had a kidney transplant in 2018 and her life has remained behind closed doors.
So I went out this morning, excuse me. People just walk at you. They don't think you're wearing a mask because there's a reason. They just walk at you and don't consider that you're trying to avoid that contact for a good reason. People want their lives to just go back to normal, and I totally understand that, because I think if I was in their position, I'd want exactly the same. However, for some of us, it isn't back to normal, and the question mark is, will it ever be? Some people are suggesting that I just take the risk, but taking the risk is taking the risk with my life.
In a statement, the government said they're committed to learning from the COVID-19 inquiry's findings, which will play a key role in informing the government's planning and preparations for the future. But for some, the pandemic's past is still very much present. Jadzia Samuel, BBC South East Today.
Well, Mark, our health correspondent, is with us now. And Mark, obviously protecting people who have suppressed immune systems is important for the wider NHS.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just a little under 5% of the population are in that patient group. However, in 2022, more than 20% of people who are hospitalised with COVID came from people who are immune suppressed. In the same year, nearly a quarter of everyone who died in hospital with COVID was from that same patient group. And one survey I read today says they are 16 times more likely to be hospitalised. There is clearly an issue as well. Experts agree with the vaccine being as effective for people who are immune suppressed. So when we see people out wearing masks, we need to understand many of them are trying to protect themselves or protect their loved ones from what is clearly a very significant problem for people who are in this patient group, Natalie.